Transform your reality. 3 Miraculous Steps to Divine Change Through Prophetic Manifestation. In a quaint English village, nestled among rolling green hills, Amelia stood at the brink of a miracle. The sun beamed through the stained glass windows of the old church, casting radiant colors on her worn hands, clasped tightly in prayer. Her heart raced as she pondered the whispered promises of St. Jude, the patron of lost causes. The air was electric with possibility. In her spirit, a flame flickered. Could divine change be at hand? Days melted into weeks as little Samuel lay encased in his childhood blanket, a shadow of the joyful boy he once was. Amelia's prayers thrummed like a heartbeat, filled with urgency, echoing among the congregation who rallied around her. Each meeting was a tapestry woven with stories of hope, laughter, and the miraculous. The parish priest, with his kind eyes, spoke of faith that moves mountains. Yet, doubt loomed like dark clouds over the village. Skeptics whispered behind closed doors, and even well-meaning friends looked to science rather than scripture. Still, Amelia clung to her belief that through God's mercy, every bit of faith could spark change. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. On a somber evening, as the village settled into its rhythmic lullaby of crickets and distant laughter, Amelia found herself on her knees, tears cascading down her cheeks, mixing with the dust of the earth beneath her. Every whispered prayer was a desperate plea for divine intervention. Suddenly, a vision burst forth. A tapestry of light engulfed her, vibrant and all-consuming. In her heart, an unmistakable voice resonated. It promised that through the storm, faith would prevail. With renewed vigor, she envisioned gathering the community for one united prayer, arms linked in strength. The next day, she approached the church with a fierce determination. Amelia spoke of hope in the face of adversity, rallying her friends to share their own struggles and delights under the prophecy of faith. Look at what we hold within. She called out, her heart ablaze. The villagers murmured, some wept, some nodded in agreement, and all began to draw closer. The weight of their collective fears began to lift. Yet, that very night, Samuel's condition spiraled. With the shadows of skepticism swirling around like a tempest, Amelia felt the darkness closing in. As she lit candles in the church and sang hymns, the air thickened with anticipation. A whispering wind swept through the sanctuary as her heart raced again, promising that hope was still alive. Could her faith, a mere flicker amongst the raging storm, transform her reality? The tension brewed like a cauldron, ready to spill over. As she took a deep breath, Amelia felt the eyes of the community upon her. Would the transformation she sought be revealed? Or would sorrow cast its long shadow over their small village? In that moment, everything hung by a thread, much like the delicate balance between despair and hope. Amelia clutched the promises of the scriptures close to her heart. The adventure was only beginning, and she knew that divine change awaited, lurking just beyond the horizon. The candle flames flickered softly, casting playful shadows around the church's stone walls. Amelia stood at the front, her heart a fragile vessel brimming with hope. The harmonious sounds of distant hymns wove through the sanctuary, a sweet reminder of the deep-rooted faith shared by her community. She sensed their breaths mingling with her own, a collective yearning for something greater. Come, my beloved friends, Amelia beckoned, her voice rising over the murmurs of the anxious crowd. We gather here not just to mourn or to worry, but to uplift our voices in unison. Can you feel the Spirit among us? Slowly, heads nodded, and souls began to intertwine. The dim light illuminated faces lined with concern, but also with a glimmer of belief. Amelia could see the flickers of faith lighting up their eyes, and with each passing moment, courage bloomed in the depths of her own heart. As they joined hands, Amelia called forth the memory of St. Jude. His story of hope amid despair echoed louder than the rising doubts. Let us surrender our fears to God, she urged, the energy within the church pulsating with intention. Let our prayers be a bridge to divine change. The congregation lifted their voices, a chorus of trembling notes that danced through the air like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Each prayer was a thread, weaving a sacred tapestry spun from dreams of healing and redemption. Amelia felt them reach deep into the heart of the divine, uniting their desires for Samuel's revival with a faith that could shake the heavens. Just then, a shift rippled through the room. An unexpected coolness embraced them like a soft blanket, and a radiant light flickered in the far corner. Amelia opened her eyes wide. Was that a vision? It felt both surreal and familiar, a powerful presence that seemed to echo the resolve in her heart. Do you feel that? She gasped, capturing the gaze of her friends who stood firm beside her. God's promise is near. But we must hold steady, unified in our love and belief. The encouragement bounced back in their affirmations, and she could see doubt begin to dissolve, replaced by a tenacity that excited her spirit. Hours stretched into an eternity as their prayers continued. Each moment thickened with divine expectation, like clouds pregnant with the promise of rain. Amelia felt the stirring of something miraculous within the depths of her soul. But as the last echoes of their singing faded, fear crept back into her mind like a thief in the night. What if it wasn't enough? In a brief moment of silence, Amelia knew she had to confront this doubt head-on. She placed her hands on the cool stone altar, eyes drifting upward. Lord, she whispered, I relinquish my fear to you. Please guide us. Please heal Samuel. May our faith remain unwavering. And then, as if in response, a bolt of warmth wrapped around her, an embracing light that filled her with unwavering confidence. Every doubt shattered in that sacred moment. She could almost hear God's voice, rumbling deep within her spirit, promising that something wondrous was on the horizon. But just as her heart began to soar, a sudden noise disrupted the peace outside. A shout, a cry that pierced the air and sent a ripple of concern through the gathered community. What was happening? Amelia's heart raced again, uncertainty flooding her veins. Did this signal triumph, or would it unveil greater trials? With trepidation, she turned toward the church doors, feeling the pull of destiny. What awaited on the other side could lead to a miracle or a heart-wrenching revelation. Amelia stepped away from the altar, the warmth within her still radiating but now overshadowed by the urgent cry outside. The congregation, sensing the change in the atmosphere, began to murmur. Faces that had once been calm were now filled with confusion and fear. What could it be? Someone whispered from the back. Is it Samuel? Another voice trembled. Amelia felt her heart quicken, a mix of anxiety and hope swirling within her. She glanced at her friends, their hands still clasped together, a tether of unity against the uncertainty that loomed. She knew in her spirit that this moment would define them. Let us stay together, she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos brewing outside. Whatever comes, we will face it with faith. Gazing toward the heavy wooden doors, a chilling wind swept through the church, teasing the edges of their collective worry. Daring to shout over the noise outside, Amelia raised her voice, Lord, grant us clarity and strength. Let your presence guide us. As if in answer, the doors creaked open slightly, revealing a flood of light that spilled into the darkened sanctuary. Eyes widened in awe as a figure emerged, silhouetted against the brilliance. Amelia could hardly breathe. Was this a vision, a messenger, or a sign? The figure stepped forward, and the congregation held its breath. It was Samuel. But he was not alone. He was being helped by several familiar faces, people from the community who had gathered to offer aid. Relief washed over Amelia like a wave, but then confusion followed. Samuel's face, while filled with gratitude, also bore the marks of struggle. He was alive, he had come back, but was he truly whole? Amelia. Samuel called, his voice strong yet tinged with a raw edge. I have returned. But it was not by my own doing. There are stories to tell, revelations to share. His words rushed out, urgency lacing each syllable. What happened? Amelia's voice wavered, her feet instinctively moving toward him. She wanted to cradle him in her arms, to shield him from whatever darkness had dared to touch his life. I saw things, glimpses of realms beyond this one, he replied, a distant look glazing over his eyes. There were voices crying out, calling me back. The boundaries between our world and the next it all blurred. And there was a light, Amelia, a light that what kind of light? A voice piped up from the crowd, and others leaned in closer, thirsting for every detail. It was, divine, yet terrifying, Samuel continued, shaking his head as if to clear it. It showed me that our faith, our prayers and hopes, they matter. But there is something more, something we need to understand if we're to truly embrace it. A stillness gripped the room, the tension palpable. Samuel's gaze returned to Amelia, piercing her with the weight of his experience. We've been given a second chance, but it comes with a cost. There are paths we must forge together, understanding that our reality can shift with faith as its foundation. Amelia felt the gravity of his words sinking into her soul. Her heart swelled not just with relief but with the urgency of truth. She sensed there was more beneath the surface, a revelation waiting to unfold. As Samuel paused, a flicker of doubt danced in the corners of Amelia's mind. What if the truth was more daunting than the shadows they feared? Please, share with us what you learned. She urged, her voice both eager and apprehensive. In that moment of uncertainty, she realized this was merely the beginning. Samuel's return hinted at something greater, a divine blueprint rolling out before them, but what would it reveal? Amelia stood at the threshold of hope and fear, teetering on the brink of transformation. The answers lay hidden just beyond reach, but they were about to unfold in ways she never could have imagined. What awaited them all could challenge everything they believed or illuminate their path in miraculous ways. The air in the sanctuary was thick with anticipation. Samuel's voice echoed softly, the power of his return imbuing the space with an electric energy. Amelia could feel her heart racing, her pulse harmonizing with the unspoken questions that tethered them all to this moment. Samuel, please, tell us what you experienced. Urged a woman with tear-streaked cheeks, her desperation evident. He stepped closer, drawing the congregation in. I felt the embrace of love so profound that it transcended all fear. But with it came revelations that shook my very being. Samuel's eyes glistened, as if he were seeing far beyond the walls of their humble church. I met those who have gone before us. Their voices were a chorus of purpose, of encouragement. But I also saw shadows, a darkness that seeks to divide us. Each word seemed to lift and linger, resonating deep within their hearts. Amelia shuddered slightly at the mention of darkness. What did it mean? The world outside this sanctuary could be filled with uncertainties and challenges, yet here they were, cradled in the warmth of shared faith. What must we do? A voice asked, cutting through the silence, the eagerness palpable. Everyone hungered for direction. There are challenges ahead, my friends, Samuel replied, his gaze sweeping across the faces illuminated by flickering candles. But I learned that through prayer, community, and unwavering faith, we can turn shadows into light. Each trial we face can deepen our connection to the divine. Amelia's heart swelled at his words. The thought of uniting together with a purpose brought to mind a vision of their community standing as one, a fortress against adversity. She felt a flicker of hope igniting within her. Together, we can break every chain, overcome every doubt. Samuel continued, his voice rising with passion. Each prayer we utter, each act of kindness, propels our purpose forward. We must cultivate a garden of faith, tend to it daily. The church filled with murmurs of agreement. Hands grasped tighter, fingers intertwining in a sacred bond. Gentle nods and teary smiles reflected the awakening spirit among them, a realization that they were not alone in this journey. Samuel's expression twisted into one of concern. But we must be aware. Fear is a tempting foe that whispers lies, trying to pull us away from the light. Do not underestimate its power. Amelia felt the weight of those words, a reminder that faith does not just exist in moments of joy, it is a force in the trials as well. As Samuel shared these revelations, a thought flashed through her mind. Was this the moment they had been waiting for, the turning point their community desperately needed? Samuel, you mentioned a cost. What do you mean? Amelia's voice trembled slightly, as the gravity of his words settled deep within her. His gaze turned serious, and he nodded gravely. Every divine shift requires sacrifice. Sometimes it is our time, sometimes our preconceived notions. We must be willing to let go of the familiar to embrace the greater plan. Amelia let the weight of his truth wash over her. Sacrifice? A notion both intimidating and liberating. Could they surrender their fears and doubts for something more profound? This was the heart of the challenge, transforming their reality, rooted in faith. There was a hush, as though the very air awaited their decision, and Amelia felt the stirring inside her soul. The path was not clear yet, but she sensed that with each step, clarity would follow. As Samuel's voice faded into the hushed murmurings of the congregation, one thought echoed in Amelia's heart: if we surrender to his will, could the divine manifestation change everything we know? The atmosphere shimmered with possibility and reverberated with unanswered questions. What miracles lay ahead as they embarked on this uncertain journey? What divine insights awaited those who would dare to believe? Amelia stood on the precipice of change, her heart eager and unsteady, as the congregation prepared for the adventure ahead. And in that sacred space, the mystery of their faith beckoned them forward. The sanctuary breathed in deep silence, a blanket of expectation wrapping around the congregation like a warm embrace. Samuel stood before them, the flickering candlelight casting soft shadows that danced upon the walls. His eyes sparkled with a wisdom that seemed to stretch beyond human understanding. Now is the time to act, he declared, his voice steady, filled with conviction. We are on the brink of something miraculous. But we must be willing to step out of our comfort zones. We must lean into faith with all our might. Amelia felt her heart begin to race again, quickening with a mix of fear and excitement. The idea of harnessing their shared spirit into a collective power, what wonders could it unleash? She glanced around at her fellow believers, their faces radiating hope and resolve. Samuel, what must we do first? Another voice broke through, filled with eagerness and curiosity. We will start with prayer, a communion with the divine. His words sparked a chorus of affirmations. The air felt charged, as if heaven itself were leaning closer to listen. Let us gather for a prayer circle, Samuel suggested, gesturing to the open space at the front of the church. In our vulnerability, we find strength. In our unity, we embrace the divine. The congregation shuffled forward, forming a tight circle, hands outstretched, fingers interlocking. As they settled into their new formation, Amelia felt a palpable surge of warmth radiating through the group. Let us give our fears to God, Samuel said, his voice a soothing balm to their collective apprehension. Release every burden. Speak your heart silently or aloud. He is here with us. As they began to pray, Amelia's thoughts turned toward the shadows Samuel had mentioned. A wave of clarity washed over her. These weren't just shadows out in the world. They were also the fears and doubts haunting their very souls. Lord, I surrender my fears of inadequacy, one voice murmured softly. God, help me let go of anger, another followed. A wave of confession rippled through the circle, each member voicing their struggles, unburdening their hearts one by one. Amelia closed her eyes, bowing her head, allowing the grace of shared honesty to fill the atmosphere. Each confession bloomed like flowers in the garden of faith. Samuel's voice rose as he hammered home the message of their collective sacrifice. Feel the light flowing in. We are planting seeds of hope, growing in the soil of love. It's in our struggles that we find His strength. Tears began to flow freely, mingling with sighs of relief. The shadows were dissolving one prayer at a time. There was a sweet harmony in their vulnerability, and within it, Amelia felt an inexplicable peace, as though the divine was cradling them all. Then, Samuel gently steered the conversation toward action. Next, we must be intentional in our kindness. Each time we share love, we serve as carriers of His light. Small acts matter. A smile to a weary stranger, a helping hand to a friend. This is how we break the chains of darkness. As Samuel spoke, Amelia thought of the people in their community, the lonely, the lost. What if they reached out to those in need? The possibilities ignited her spirit further. The vision of their sanctuary transforming into a beacon of hope burned brightly in her heart. "Let us make plans this week," a voice chimed in. "We can create a food drive. Reach out to the elderly, bring them joy and assurance." "Exactly," Samuel responded with enthusiasm. "In unity, we rise. Let us elevate each other and build a legacy of light together." As the prayer circle began to dissolve back into their individual places, Amelia felt a stirring in her soul, a calling to action. This was not just a moment, it was a movement. "You may not see all that lies ahead," Samuel's voice lingered in the air, "but remember, faith paves the road we walk upon." With those last words resounding in her heart, Amelia felt a surge of purpose. Could they truly change their reality? Could this act of unity manifest something wondrous? The promise of divine intervention danced on the edges of her spirit, beckoning her to uncover what awaited as they continued their journey. What magic could emerge from their seeds of kindness and faith? The sanctuary's atmosphere shimmered with potential as they stepped forward, ready to embrace the adventure set before them. As the last murmurs of the prayer faded into the warm embrace of silence, the congregation felt a collective heartbeat, each soul in tune with the other, a sacred symphony of hope. Amelia's breath seemed to match the rhythm, each inhalation filled with promise, each exhalation a release of doubt. The atmosphere held a sweetness, a tangible essence of expectancy, as if they were all basking in a divine glow. "Okay, family," Samuel began, his smile radiant as if illuminated from within. "This week will be our chance to put our faith into action. We are called to be instruments of His love. Let us take the light we've ignited here tonight and spread it beyond these walls." Amelia felt a stir of excitement blend with a hint of anxiety. What if they truly could make a difference? What if their small acts of kindness could bloom into something beautiful? "Let us divide into groups," Samuel continued. "We will cover more ground that way. Each group can explore their own way of reaching out, creating meals, organizing visits, or even a community gathering." The chatter rose, each individual buzzing with ideas and possibilities. The eagerness was infectious, igniting a spark that traveled through the sanctuary like divine electricity. Amelia glanced at her friends. They were animated, their faces bright with determination as they discussed potential projects. "Amelia." A voice broke through her thoughts. Sarah, her closest friend, pulled her back to the present. "What do you think? Should we visit the local nursing home?" "Absolutely," Amelia replied, her heart racing. "They must feel so alone. We can share stories, sing, bring small gifts. I just want them to know they are remembered." As they made plans, it became clearer that this was about more than mere outreach. It was about connection, about infusing love into the cracks of their community. Amelia's heart swelled with purpose. Every soul they would touch could become a part of this tapestry of light they were weaving together. "Remember," Samuel's voice rang out again, "kindness isn't just an act, it's a posture of our hearts. We are reflecting the very nature of God when we serve others." Amelia felt a soft nudge inside her, a gentle reminder from the Spirit. It was not about grand gestures or recognition. It was in the simple acts, the quiet moments of grace, that His presence shone brightest. As plans solidified, Amelia sensed an urgency rising within her. She turned to her group, her voice steady yet fervent. "What if we also invite their families? Bring them together for a shared meal? Sometimes, love needs to be shared as a community." "Oh, I love that idea," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes bright with inspiration. "We can set up a time for everyone to come together. It will be a gathering of hearts." More nods and excited chatter filled the air, the vision expanding. They would create an inviting space, a sanctuary beyond their own, where stories would intertwine and laughter would echo. Meanwhile, Samuel walked closer, sensing the energy within the group. Know that this isn't just about feeding bellies. It's about nourishing souls. We can plant seeds that, in time, will blossom into a garden of divine connection. Amelia looked up at him, the warmth of his words wrapping around her like a blanket. They were doing more than organizing a meal, they were sharing love, faith, and hope. As the evening drew to a close, Samuel prayed for the mission before them, invoking blessings over each group. Amelia felt the heaviness of the world ease with every word. She could almost picture the seeds they were planting sprouting, their roots intertwining like a web of belonging. As they prepared to leave, a thought crossed Amelia's mind: what if their small acts rippled beyond what they could see? What if this journey awakened something greater in their community? Faith is indeed a wondrous mystery, Samuel reminded them, a smile dancing upon his lips. When we reflect his light, we never know how far it will reach. With a final hug shared and goodbyes exchanged, Amelia stepped out into the cool night air, holding tightly to the promise of their endeavor. The stars twinkled high above, and in that moment, Amelia felt the weight of divine anticipation. She knew their gathering was just the beginning. As they walked into the night, her spirit brimmed with questions. How would they witness change in themselves and others? What miracles lay on the horizon? The world was waiting. The pieces were in motion. But what transformations awaited them as they ventured boldly into the unknown? A fresh chapter beckoned them onward. The morning light poured through Amelia's window, painting her room in soft hues of gold. Today felt different, more profound. She could sense the weight of their mission even before she stepped out. Heart fluttering, she gathered her thoughts and prepared herself mentally for the day ahead. It was not just another Saturday, it was a day meant for connection, healing, and the sweet unfolding of grace. As she walked toward the community center, the cool breeze brushed against her skin, whispering promises of hope. She could see groups forming. Some were laying out tables, others were organizing supplies, but all shared an unmistakable energy. This wasn't just service, it was sacred collaboration. Amelia. Sarah waved her over, a bright smile bursting forth. Look. Everyone has really come together. It feels alive. Amelia's heart swelled. There it was, the divine magic they had prayed for. Let us focus on making everyone feel welcome. Can you help me with the decorations? Light has a way of lifting hearts, she suggested, picking up the colorful streamers draped nearby. They worked side by side, laughter spilling freely as they transformed the humdrum space into a warm, inviting haven. Each twist of a ribbon, every hung banner, felt like a prayer, a declaration that love was present. With each detail attended to, Amelia could feel the anticipation building within her. This was their offering. As the hour approached, the first guests began to arrive. Amelia noticed the elder faces, so often cloaked in loneliness, now illuminated with curiosity. She stepped forward, her voice gentle. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. A ripple of warmth filled the room, the smiles exchanged between generations dancing in the air like sparks of light. They served the guests with care, not merely dishing out food but serving slices of joy, tidbits of connection. Samuel wandered through, a supportive presence, offering encouragement here and a kind word there. We are the hands of Christ, he reminded them, while he helped in every way he could. Every single interaction holds the potential for transformation. The moment arrived when stories were shared over plates filled with food, laughter mingling with heartwarming memories. An elderly man named Mr. Thompson began recounting tales of his childhood, and Amelia found herself leaning in, soaking in the wisdom that flowed effortlessly from his lips. Her eyes shone with wonder as he spoke about trials and triumphs woven into his life, each story a golden thread in the tapestry of humanity. She realized then that the effort they had dedicated to this gathering was not just outreach, it was a pathway to wisdom, a bridge between souls. In that sacred exchange, Amelia felt a push inside. A nudge within her heart whispered, this is where you belong." It was an unveiling of belonging that washed over her, igniting a flame of purpose. As the afternoon faded into evening, families began to gather as well. Laughter and chatter filled the room, drawing everyone into a shared embrace of warmth and authenticity. Each guest was radiant, not just in presence but in essence. The air vibrated with gratitude and connection that only came from shared humanity. Yet, as Amelia walked through the gathering, a thought pricked her heart. What if this was more than just a day of service? What if the impact they were creating extended beyond this moment? "Sometimes you can't see the seeds you've sown until much later," a voice pulled her from her pondering. It was Sarah, standing beside her with a soft smile. "Imagine the joy this brings. Imagine the community we are nurturing." Amelia nodded, feeling those silent wonders, the ripples of their love reaching far beyond what she could even imagine. As the day came to a close, the heavens painted a spectacular backdrop of colors, a reminder that miracles were woven into the fabric of their efforts. But with each story shared and connection sparked, Amelia felt a stirring curiosity within her. What had they truly unleashed today? What changes would manifest as a result of their combined faith? As she looked into the faces around her, joy mingled with anticipation, igniting questions that danced like fireflies in her heart as she stepped back, relishing the beauty of their collective mission. With the radiance of the day still shining within her, the next chapter called forth what was waiting just beyond the horizon of their united hearts. Would they witness the unfolding of something extraordinary? Amelia walked away from the gathering, her mind swirling with thoughts and possibilities. Each conversation, each shared laugh, felt like a brick laid in the foundation of a new reality. The fading sunlight wrapped around her like a warm embrace, as if encouraging her to embrace the deeper meaning of this day. Questions bubbled in her spirit. How could this gathering inspire more than just fleeting moments of connection? What truths lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be illuminated? She turned to look at Samuel, who lingered at the entrance, cheerfully chatting with a young mother. His eyes sparkled with the joy of every exchange, and Amelia recalled his words, "We are the hands of Christ." Suddenly, she saw the beauty not just in what they shared today, but in what they could cultivate in the future. What if, she mused, half to herself, this was the beginning of a new chapter? Amelia felt a gentle nudge in her soul, a whisper urging her to dig deeper, to dare to dream bigger. Recognizing the growing excitement within, she approached Samuel. "Do you think we could create something lasting from today? Something that helps the community grow together?" His face broke into a knowing smile. "Absolutely, Amelia. We've sown seeds today. Now, we must nurture them." As they spoke, the room buzzed with conversations and laughter, a living tapestry of connection. It was as if the very walls were resonating with the heartbeat of something greater. Amelia shared her vision with Samuel, her words tumbling out with passion. "Imagine hosting more events like this. Where each person feels valued, where we not only serve meals but also cultivate relationships. We can create workshops, invite storytellers, and even celebrate the lives of those who seem forgotten. Everyone deserves to feel they are a part of something." Her vision took flight between them, ethereal and electric. Samuel leaned in, his interest piqued. "What if we reach out to different generations? For instance, the kids in our community could learn from the stories of our elders. The rich tapestry of their experiences can teach them resilience, kindness, and hope. It can be a connection that transcends age." Amelia could almost see the framework of their dreams forming in the ether. She felt a swell of joy within her. This was no longer just an idea, it was a call to action. Together, they would fuel a movement rooted in love, hope, and deep trust in one another. Across the room, she noticed Mr. Thompson, laughing heartily with a little girl, his weathered hands animated as he acted out a tale. She smiled, grateful for the serendipitous magic of the day. Witnessing the joy in that moment felt wholly a reminder that connections could spark and flourish in the simplest of gatherings. "Let us put our plans into motion," Amelia said, with a newfound courage in her voice. "We'll gather folks next week and brainstorm more ideas. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be filled with love. As Amelia spoke, a gentle breeze swept through the community center, and she felt the presence of divine guidance surrounding them. The air shimmered with possibility, as if the very heavens were affirming their mission. But at the edge of her heart, the questions persisted: would they really be able to create lasting change? Would their combined efforts bear fruit? In that moment of hope and uncertainty, she held on to the belief that they were meant for something greater. A divine stirring was present, and in it, Amelia found an urge to reach beyond her comfort zone. Together, we can cultivate a garden of joy, Samuel declared with enthusiasm. His voice rang clear, inviting the other volunteers to join in this vision of a shared future. Amelia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of purpose settle on her shoulders. They were embarking on a journey, and she could already sense the profound awakening that lay ahead. With every step they took, they were moving towards something extraordinary. What lay on the horizon for them, as they dared to weave their own stories together? Would they witness the miracle of transformation both within themselves and in the heart of their community? And as the sun set behind the canopies, a colorful palette of vibrant hues painted the sky, reminding them that even after the darkest nights, light would break forth with new beginnings. Amelia's heart danced with anticipation. The true adventure was just beginning. Amelia woke up the next morning with a sense of purpose ringing in her heart. The event from yesterday replayed in her mind like a sacred melody, echoing the laughter and dreams that had flowed so freely. She could almost hear Samuel's voice, full of hope, inviting her into something beautiful. As she sipped her morning tea, the sunlight streaming through her kitchen window illuminated the pages of her journal scattered on the table. Her heart began to race again with ideas of the future. She could feel the prayers of her community, hungry for connection, seeking meaning in the mundanity of life. Could they truly harness this energy? Amelia grabbed her pen and began to scribble down thoughts: find a venue, reach out to more volunteers, speak to the elders in the community about sharing their stories. Each word felt like a prayer. Each idea, a step into the unknown. Her spirit fluttered as she thought of casting out nets into the depths of the ocean, trusting God for a catch. What God did yesterday could very well inspire today. As she penned her ideas, a part of her wondered, will this work? Can we really create lasting change? But even in that doubt, she felt a sacred light within her, urging her to press on. Later that morning, Amelia gathered her courage and picked up the phone, calling friends and volunteers. One by one, she painted her vision for a community event that would breathe life into the streets. We can make this a monthly gathering, she announced excitedly. Let us harness this energy. We are destined to create something meaningful. Think of the joy we can spread. Her words hung in the air like vibrant colors waiting to be woven into a tapestry. Calls turned into emails, emails shifted into meetings, and before they knew it, a team of eager hands and open hearts formed around her vision. As the days flew by, they planned the event meticulously. Amelia felt like a gardener tending to a budding flower. Excitement seeped into their discussions, ideas sprouted and flowed like living water. Samuel suggested a theme: stories that heal, while others thought of unique activities. They envisioned storytelling corners, music slots, and workshops that would awaken hidden talents. The week finally arrived. Amelia stood before the community center where everything would take place. A once bare canvas, it was now awash in colors and decorations, a testament to their collective dreams. Volunteers buzzed around, setting up, bringing life to her vision. But as the time approached, knots of anxiety knotted in her stomach. Memories of past failures whispered doubts. What if nobody came? What if it fell flat? Would they truly be able to spark the transformation they'd hoped? In that moment, she found a quiet space behind the building and closed her eyes. She inhaled deeply, letting the fresh air fill her lungs as she surrendered her worries to God. I give this to you, Lord. Your will be done. A peace washed over her. She realized that it was not solely about the event, but about creating a sacred space where love could multiply among people. Whatever happened would be rooted in faith. When the doors opened that evening, she watched individuals walk in a tapestry of generations, weaving together the story of their community. Laughter erupted, eyes gleamed, and spirits lifted. A child tugged at her sleeve. "Can I tell my story?" he asked with bright eyes. Amelia's heart swelled. This was what they had prayed for, a holy connection in action. They were transforming moments into memories, and memories into legacies. "Of course," she replied, her voice filled with warm excitement. As the night unfolded, waves of joy cascaded through the crowd, testimonies shared, connections forged, love ignited. The energy was palpable, and Amelia found herself lost in the beauty of it all. But amidst the unfolding joy remained a lingering question: could they sustain this spark, nourishing it into a lasting fire? With each shared story, each act of kindness, they tasted the divine potential whispering through the night. This was a small step, a beginning. But it felt like a conviction growing within a promise of what lay ahead. And as Amelia lingered in the crowd, she felt an unmistakable tug on her spirit. What deeper truths might emerge as they journeyed together? What new heights awaited them in faith? Only time would reveal the answers, but one thing was certain: a miracle was unfolding, and they were part of it. What would their next steps reveal? Would their shared faith carry them through the trials that lay ahead? The mystery of the journey was only just beginning. The air inside the community center buzzed with a sacred energy, a manifestation of love and hope mingling among the gathered souls. Amelia felt her heart pound with excitement as she stepped into the vibrant scene around her, each face glowing with anticipation. There were claps of laughter and whispers of stories shared, drawing them all together in a united experience. Tonight is about connection, Amelia reminded herself. Each moment filled the space with a tangible warmth as she greeted familiar faces, welcoming them into the sacred circle they were creating. As the evening unfurled, a young girl took the stage, her eyes poised with determination. "I want to tell you my story," she declared. The room quieted, absorbing her words like a thirsty ground accepting rain. With each story shared, tears glistened on the cheeks of even the most stoic. Samuel stood nearby, nodding appreciatively, reminding Amelia of the power of vulnerability. Each narrative was a thread woven into the larger tapestry, a testament to shared resilience and faith. "Beautiful," someone exclaimed after hearing a tale of triumph over adversity. Amelia watched as elders nodded, their luminous faces brushing against the fabric of hope. The tapestry of their lives began to expand, bridging generations, allowing for healing through shared experiences. "Let us cherish these stories," Amelia urged the crowd during a pause, her voice steady and warm. "Each one is a gift. We are not just a community, we are a family." The atmosphere felt electric with agreement, every soul carrying the energy of newfound purpose. A shared mission began to crystallize in her heart. Then, the evening took a transformative turn when Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his voice steady despite the age etched on his frame. "I want to thank you all," he began, his words wrapping around everyone like a comforting shawl. "In my moments of loneliness, I felt forgotten, but you've reminded me what it feels like to belong. Let us create more spaces like this." There was a collective murmur of agreement, then applause, building towards a crescendo. Amelia's heart swelled. This was what they had sought, the spark igniting a fire within their community. "Together, we can continue this journey," she exclaimed, catching Samuel's eye across the room. "This isn't a one-time event but the beginning of something lasting." As people nodded, murmurs of excitement rippled through the gathered souls. Ideas poured out, like light rushing forward, each suggestion shining with possibility. There was a longing to continue weaving connections, and with each word, the vision expanded and glimmered brighter. "Let us meet monthly," Samuel proposed. "We can rotate through generations, elders, youth, families, everyone contributing stories, creating a vibrant network of love." "Yes." A flurry of agreement echoed, the room resonating with enthusiasm. In that precious moment of unity, Amelia saw a pathway unfurling, illuminated by their presence and purpose. Imagine a community garden, where we can plant stories, serve one another, and grow together through faith and kindness, she added, feeling an energy ignite in her spirit. Laughter erupted once more, reverberating against the walls, creating a sacred resonance. As the evening winds down, the bond between them seemed to pulse like a living heart. They were participants in a divine mission, one that would shape lives for generations to come. Stepping outside into the cool night air, Amelia took a deep breath, allowing gratitude to wash over her. She felt the weight of hope settle comfortably in her chest. This was day one of their journey together, a testament to their faith, a beautiful beginning of endless possibilities. But a flicker of uncertainty lingered, a whisper: could they sustain this momentum? As she looked up at the stars sparkling overhead, she felt part of the invisible tapestry being woven across the night. God, guide us, she whispered into the night. May our faith lead the way, and may our community continue to blossom. Amelia headed home with her heart afire, visions of tomorrow unfolding in her mind. What awaited her next? What courage would they need to weather the challenges ahead? One truth echoed clearly in her heart: they were not just individuals, they were a collective flame, destined to illuminate the darkest corners of the world around them. And suddenly, it was crystal clear. This journey was one of love, community, and divine manifestation, a sacred adventure that would continue, step by step, story by story, heart by heart. Now was the moment to act, to stand together as a family of faith. If you believe in the power of shared stories and divine connection, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel. Leave a like now to share this journey of faith and hope. Tell us your reactions and testimonies in the comments. Let your voice be heard. And for the love of community, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second. This is the moment to show your support. The divine light needs to reach every corner of our world.